Peace and blessings, everyone. This is Coach Edd. Thanks for tapping in to another episode of Between the Hashmarks, right here on the Aboriginal Sports Network. Now, here, we're going to be going over some of the action in week 2, recapping some of the games, some big upsets there. I'm going to give you a top 10 review, and then I'll introduce you to my new top 25 rankings. So, pretty excited for this show. So, ready to get going. So, go ahead and let's play this intro.
On the field we grind, every play's a statement. Coach Edd on the headset, leading like a champion. Games on blast, yeah, we talking all the scores. From the stands to the couch, it's college football wars. Tactic arise, rivals feel the pressure. Every snap, every pass, it's a teacher lecture. We breaking down the plays with rhythm and force. This podcast is the playbook, it's the main source. On the headset, we're calling the shots. Every team on the rise, giving all that we got. On the field we hustle, every snap like it's told. Highlight reels rolling, the stories unfold. Tailgates are packed, fans decked in their pride. On the headset, got the whole world on our side. From the kickoff to the final drive, Coach Edd's breaking down how we thrive. Every week, every game, we're turning the tide. On the headset, where the passion won't hide. Let's talk stats, let's break it down. Championship dreams, we're wearing that crown. From the big wins to the heartbreaking loss. On the headset, we're here, no matter the cost.
Man, week 2, finally, the books have finally closed on week 2. There's a lot to, like I said earlier, talk about. So, really appreciate you guys. Also, make sure you guys tap into the Aboriginal Sports Network. Hit the like button for this episode. And make sure you subscribe to all the great content creators that are there. Get notified when anyone posts new content and sharing all your social media networks. Also, same for Coach Edd Sports. Make sure you tap in, get notified, subscribe and get notified there, and share on your social media networks when I post new content. So, man, what can I say? This week, games were pretty interesting, and there were some exciting games. So we're going to get into the week 2 recap, where I'm going to go over, the games that, some of the games, not all of them, and really dive into it. So the first game I'm going to talk about is the battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. That's between Iowa State Cyclones and the Iowa Hawkeyes. It's a state battle between these two inter-conference teams, Iowa State of the Big 12 and Iowa of the Big 10. Now, Iowa State came away victorious 16-13 over the Hawkeyes. Kyle Conradi kicked a 54-yard field goal with 1:52 left for the 16th ranked Iowa State Hawkeyes. The win over Iowa is the Cyclones' third victory in 4 years over their Big 10 rivals. This year's game was played in Ames, Iowa, so it was an exciting game for the most part. Quarterback Rocco Beck led the Cyclones on a grinding 55-yard drive that chewed up 6.5 minutes off the clock. Tamatoa McDonough sacked Iowa quarterback Mark Gronowski twice on Iowa's last possession, with the Hawkeyes turning the ball over on downs. Gronowski was 13-24 for 83 yards. He's been struggling ever since he's transferred in to the Hawkeyes. Jason Patterson led the Hawkeyes on the ground with 60 yards on 11 carries. Now, Beck ended the night going 18-27 for 134 yards and 1 touchdown, and Abu Sama III led their running game with 12 carries for 47 yards. Now, with the win, the Cyclones stayed undefeated at 3-0, and Iowa took their first loss. They're now at 1-1. So there you have it. The Cyclones came away with the Cy-Hawk Trophy and bragging rights over their state brothers. Next up, in an upset, the Army Black Knights took down the Kansas State Wildcats 24-21. Cal Heliums accounted for 3 touchdowns to help Army beat Kansas State. The Black Knights used their ground game, rushing 70 times to help control the clock and be a key factor in leading to the win. Army had 4 scoring drives of at least 13 plays, 3 that took at least 7 minutes. Man, that's eating up some time. Another key factor in the game, Army ended up going 6 for 7 on 4th downs. So when they got in those crucial moments, they knew what they had to do to convert. Now on the night, Heliums completed 7 of 11 passes for 43 yards and 1 touchdown. Army's not a big passing team. They're a running team. Now on the ground, Heliums ran 41 times for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns there. Kansas State's quarterback, Avery Johnson, he went 15 of 25 for 172 yards and 1 touchdown, but the Black Knights' time of possession limited what Johnson and the Wildcats could do. Army held the time of possession lead 40 minutes and 44 seconds to 19-16 over the Wildcats. That's a big advantage. They also accumulated 332 yards, while Kansas State accumulated 247 yards. Now, this is a big win for Army, and it's another tough loss for Kansas State. The major upset of the day was South Florida beating another ranked opponent in the Florida Gators, 18-16 down in Gainesville. Florida committed 11 penalties for 103 yards, including 2 major infractions on their final drive, and questionably managed the clock as the Bulls stunned the Gators. South Florida kicker Nico Gramatica hit a 20-yard field goal as time expired to lift the Bulls to their first victory over Florida in 5 tries. With the loss, questions arose about Gators coach Bill Napier's job. A loss like this isn't a good look as fans have continued to question what the program is doing. Napier called 2 plays in the whining moment when his offense needed to milk the clock and was in charge of a team that melted down in every turn at crunch time. The Gators gave up a 66-yard touchdown pass, mostly because defenders were staring at the sideline. Defensive lineman Brennan Bett, was flagged and ejected on the final drive for spitting on an opponent. Another player doing this. This happened one play after Dijon Johnson was called for a pass interference. So that right there is literally 30 yards in penalties that they gave up. Throwing Napier's offense, finishing with 355 yards and settling for 3 field goals early, it's no surprise Florida's faithful were calling for his job afterwards. South Florida, meanwhile, took another huge step forward in Coach Alex Golish's 3rd season. Expect to see them ranked going forward. That's a big thing there. So, finally, Oklahoma took down Michigan 24-3 in a battle of ranked teams. Quarterback John Mateer ran for 2 touchdowns and passed for another, and the number 18 Sooners beat the number 15 Wolverines last night. The defense held the Wolverines to 288 yards. Mateer, he passed for 270 yards and ran for another 74, so he outgained the Wolverines by himself. Deion Burks caught 7 passes for 101 yards, and Jaron Connect added 5 catches for 69 yards. Running back Justice Hayes ran for 125 yards and 19 carries for the Wolverines. Freshman phenom quarterback Bryce Underwood, he struggled. He completed 9 of 24 passes for 124 yards and looked out of sorts. It was an unhappy homecoming for Michigan head coach Sharon Moore, who played at Oklahoma. There were questions on some of the play calling offensively and defensively. The Wolverines, they really did not seem to trust Underwood, with some of the play callings that they did. When he did pass, he was under duress and never seemed comfortable. The Sooners weren't great running the ball for much of the game, but they controlled the clock late in the fourth quarter. Now, with this win for Oklahoma, it's great as it positions them well for moving up in the national rankings and getting the recognition they've been working so hard for. So there you have it in that big game. I also wanted to touch on two former NFL players who are now head coaches. They received their first wins as head coaches. Mike Vick for Norfolk State, they defeated Virginia State 34-31 in overtime. And Deshaun Jackson and his Delaware State squad took down Albany 37-31. So congrats to them both as they gained their first win. So there you have it. So right now, we're going to move on to the next segment of the show. And that's my top 10 review. Now, number 1, Ohio State. Easy win. 70-0 over Grambling State. Number 2, Penn State blanked FIU, Florida International University, 34-0. Number 3, LSU struggled to put away Louisiana Tech, 23-7. Number 4, Georgia took care of Austin Peay, 28-6. Number 5, Miami beat up on Bethune-Cookman, 45-3. Number 6, Oregon. They annihilated Oklahoma State, 69-3. Number 7, Texas came away with a sloppy win, 38-7 over San Jose State University. Number 8, Clemson withstood a tough Troy team, winning 27-16. Number 9, South Carolina defeated South Carolina State 38-10. And the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, they were idle, so they didn't play. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into the top 25 that I have. So let's go. Let's take a look here at that top 25. All right, with these rankings, coming in at number 25 are the Arizona State Sun Devils after a tough loss. Coming in at 24 are those Florida Gators falling down to 24. 23 introduces those South Florida Bulls. Number 22 is the Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Wolverines have fallen down to number 21. Coming in at number 20, the Indiana Hoosiers. 19 has the Auburn Tigers. 18, the Texas A&M Aggies. 17, the Utah Utes. 16, Oklahoma has moved there. That's where they've moved up to. 15, the Tennessee Volunteers. 14, Illinois. 13, Alabama. 12, Iowa State has moved up there. 11, Florida State with a big win. Notre Dame is still at 10. South Carolina is at 9. Clemson is still at 8. Texas is still at 7. Oregon is at 6. Miami is at 5. Georgia is at 4. LSU is at 3. Penn State is at 2. And Ohio State is at 1. So there you have it. That's my top 25 there. So let me know what you guys think. Definitely tap into the chat. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Between the Hashmarks right here on the ABSN. And I'll see you next week. Peace.
On the field we grind, every play's a statement. Coach Edd on the headset, leading like a champion. Games on blast, yeah, we talking all the scores. From the stands to the couch, it's college football wars. Tactical rise, rivals feel the pressure. Every snap, every pass, it's a teacher lecture. We breaking down the plays with rhythm and force. This podcast is the playbook, it's the main source. On the headset, we're calling the shots. Every team on the rise, giving all that we got. On the field we hustle, every snap like it's told. Highlight reels rolling, the stories unfold. Tailgates are packed, fans decked in their pride. On the headset, got the whole world on our side. From the kickoff to the final drive, Coach Edd's breaking down how we thrive. Every week, every game, we're turning the tide. On the headset, where the passion won't hide. Let's talk stats, let's break it down. Championship dreams, we're wearing that crown. From the big wins to the heartbreaking loss. On the headset, we're here, no matter the cost.